If you're ever cleaning your AR platform rifle and you assemble it and you wonder to yourself if you did that right, this is the video for you. Most videos that I've seen on YouTube and all show you how to take your rifle apart, but they don't show you how to give a little extra attention to those areas that could be potential problem areas, such as during reassembly, and it affects reliability later. I'm not here to do a rush through breakdown. I'm here to show you what most people pass over. And so when you put your rifle together, you know it's done correctly. All right, before we get started, let's go over some equipment. First thing I like, I'm gonna take some of these picks. There's all different sorts. Yes, there's some kind of bent. I'm at my department's armory, and this goes through many, many guns. Other item, a dish with a magnet, helps hold your small pieces so you don't lose track of them. Steel wool, I prefer the fine grain. This is coarse, but it'll still work. These cleaning swabs, different sizes, shapes, forms. Toothbrush will work, but these gun brushes. Patches. And a chamber brush. And something to put your patch through, either one of these or a jag. All right, let's get started. First, let me say that having this get up here with a vise and one of these to slide it on here makes working on this so much easier. But it's almost like a mag in there. But anyway, first we're gonna push this pin out here, right here, pull it out the other side, break it down as such, put it on this mount now. I'm gonna push the first pin out on the other side. Now I have the upper and lower separated. I like to examine my lower. The trigger area does not get that dirty, surprisingly. I just look down in here, see it's not that dirty in there at all. So what I'll do is I'll get a swab, preferably one of these smaller ones that will go down in there. I'll just make sure, kind of testing the area how dirty it is. There are very few areas that will get extremely dirty in here. As you can see, that's not too bad. Not bad at all, actually, for a couple hundred rounds that was sent through here. I'm gonna go ahead and clean this. There's an assortment of cleaners. I don't have any name brands that I prefer and whatnot. I know this stuff works. I usually get a rag for the striker here, or the hammer, whatever you want to call it. I'm not into names real well. One thing to look for in here is any weakening, obvious signs of springs, broken springs. See some liquid I got to get out of there, but look at these springs, make sure they're in good shape. And this bad boy looks like it's been sitting around for a bit. Go down there and soak all that up. This will also evaporate while we're working on the other section. I just don't like leaving anything in there. We're gonna start off on the simple stuff. This here is the buffer tube. This retaining pin right here, or not retainer, the retainer for the buffer spring right here. I'm telling you right now, if you ever lose that thing, it will go flying. There's a spring underneath it and it will launch. But you push it down, and it releases your buffer spring. Just pull that out. I like to wipe this down and add just a touch of oil and rub it down the springs. There's some friction in there as it's recoiling, so but you can pull this off. Pull that off. Give it a good wipe down. Doesn't have to be perfect, but you just want to remove any old junk. See that there, how dirty that is? Nice and clean, looks almost new. Put that aside for a half sec. Now I don't want to get parts everywhere, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to inspect down in here. And I'm going to go ahead and put my buffer spring back in. So like I said, very light coat. I'll just go down the spring. I'll even kind of wipe it down a bit to see there's a little sheen on it now, just a little bit. Don't want it dripping wet. This in there. Now none of this during assembly or disassembly should be done extremely rough. Now, once it clicks in, the retainer here is maintaining the buffer spring, good shape. Moving on to the more interesting part. All right, on your upper, in order to extract your bolt carrier group and everything, you pull your charging handle back, and it comes right out. I go ahead, remove your charging handle. To do so, let me walk that through. You're gonna go back until it stops, kind of feel for it to go down and bring it out. Now here is where this wonderful dish comes in place. The first thing we're gonna take out is the firing pin, retaining pin here. You can see where it's located. We're gonna remove that. I'm gonna use one of these tools just to pull it. Don't fling it out and end up losing it. That's where that magnetic dish comes in handy. Next, we're gonna remove the firing pin, which is located right in there. Use the same tool. You just grab the back of it, just come right out. See how dirty it is? It's sucio. Next is the cam pin. You cannot get the cam pin out unless you take the firing pin out first. But you should memorize the name of these parts in case they ever malfunction, defect, or whatnot. You know what to replace, and that is a good thing instead of Googling, hey, that thing that holds this other thing. So in order to get the cam pin out here, you're gonna turn it 90 degrees. It's not always easy because it's up underneath this gas tube. At 90 degrees, you push this all the way in, like that. I like to use the same tool, kind of work it out. Out it comes. Now there's a special move on how to reassemble that, but I'll tell you in a second. And your bolt comes out. Now, going one step further, this is where a lot of people don't go. This here is an extractor. This extractor has a small spring right underneath this section. It's important that you don't lose that. It would be called your extractor spring, but you push this pin through. Kind of put some pressure here. Pull it out, put it in our little parts dish. Right there. See how it gets a lot of filth under there and it builds up, and this is one of the parts that no one ever tells you to clean. And it doesn't need to be done every time, maybe every 2 or 3 times, but you do need to occasionally clean this. But watch out for this spring here because it will take off on you, and it's very small. Okay, put that on there. Now our bolt carrier is empty. So, beginning the cleaning process, I'm gonna put the upper back on the lower in order to help me hold it to where I don't have to use 2 hands. And then we're gonna get some cleaner. Spray it down in our barrel. Soak up what flows out. Now there's major problem areas in these rifles, and one of them is right inside the chamber. So you can get your chamber brush, this one here. They sell them specifically for AR, whatnot. You get in there, go back and forth, and go in there and turn. Okay. and then back and forth, back and forth. Now, one area this does not clean very well is right, and pardon me for my lack of technical terms here, but right here, just beyond this these grooves here, on the back side of them, carbon builds up like crazy up there, right before the bore. I don't know if you can see, let me use my tool to point. Right here. So one thing you can use are these. This is where I prefer to use one that's got an edge or a bend in it. And go in there, go right behind those teeth, or where it locks in. Oops. And give it, you don't want to scratch the surface. You're just trying to remove the carbon. And you can see it clearly. That chamber brush does a pretty good job, but it doesn't get it all. See all kinds of gunk I'm bringing out of it. Now, it sounds like I'm scratching it, but I promise you I'm putting like 1 pound of pressure. It's just metal on metal, so you gotta take it easy. You don't want to gouge it, don't want to scratch it. It's not the purpose here. Okay, another problem area. This gas tube right here. You can see the carbon buildup. Now, usually a little cleaner, a good old brush will do it. Shut the ejection port. Go get in. Now, what kind of cleaner you use is up to you. I don't like too harsh chemicals. I mean, it is metal, but you don't want to dry everything out too bad. And you got to make sure to really oil it up when you do. Now I'm going to use this little smaller side to really get on that gas tube. And right beside it. Now you don't want to bend that gas tube up prying. That'd be a bad day. It is slightly loose, but I am taking the time to really brush on it, because that gas tube fits over here on the top, and if there's carbon buildup, we're not going to get seated right, and then what's going to happen? Malfunction. Okay. This gun is several years old, and it's got thousands and thousands of rounds sent through it. Look already how clean that gas tube is getting, just from what I've done. Now, some of that's just, I wouldn't call it stain, but it's a huge improvement from what it was. But just a little bit more. I'm not happy with it yet. And I'm not just cleaning that, I'm cleaning the whole inside. Get my round swab, go up underneath my gas tube on both sides, all around. All these jagged areas on the inside here. Anywhere that has notches, I like to run these swabs. You can see how dirty it's getting. I go through a lot of swabs. Now I'm putting it inside the chamber area. Kind of sniffing around, seeing how bad we did. If you go through the ejection port here, go through the ejection port into the chamber, you can get the lower end a little bit better. They did not make this for super easy cleaning, I promise you that. That's probably going to be your dirtiest area, is that lower area, just because it's so hard to get to. Now you can look at the difference. Right here, how clean it is. There's no carbon buildup anymore. I know that's dirty, but we're gonna clean it a little more. And one thing I didn't cover, highly important that you ensure that your weapon is clear before you start. I don't just function test, I pull the charging handle back, lock it, inspect visually down in the chamber, inspect visually, and then I get my finger and physically, well, it's actually usually my pinky, physically put my finger in there to make sure I do not feel around, do not see around. That's the way I've done it for 20 years. Now we're gonna clean the barrel or the bore. Now there's two things. They sell these bore snakes, and this one's fairly old, but they work. I like to get the dirtiest part out with them. All you do is feed it up. The direction your rounds go in, that's the way I like to do it. Everything goes in the back and out the front. That sounded. Feed it through, you grab it from the other end here, pull it through. This one's still got some good pressure. Some of these are worn out to the point where it doesn't really grab it. I mean, like, you don't feel it grabbing the barrel as it goes through. Feeling pretty good about that. Now we're gonna shoot just a little solvent down in there. It's a solvent / lubricant. We're gonna get our patches, our cleaning rod here. Gonna feed this through. Now, these are small diameter. It doesn't take much because these barrels are super narrow. Okay. And I hope you're doing this along with me. Then it won't feel like you're sitting there staring at a whole lot of nothing. But then I push it down the direction of the barrel. It's tight. I don't want to force it. Push down, back up. You see, got a schmuck. And do it again. And while I do this, let me talk about, I did another video about selecting a carry firearm. And if you're interested at all, a police officer's view on what you should carry or shouldn't carry, I suggest you see that video next. I was kind of tired when I did it. It took me a little bit to get going, but I work nights, and like right now it is 2:55 in the morning. All right, this should be the last time. The other one wasn't that dirty. Out, back in, looking pretty good, not bad. So I'm happy with that. Now, here we go crossing into the boundary areas again where people don't address things. And it's very important. Your bolt, super important item. Get some cleaner on it, nice and clean. I choose to clean this with a brush. Now I go with that extractor out. It's just so much easier to sit here and really get in that area and clean it. Once a year they have a full teardown of these weapons. And when they do all this. But that's once a year. Teeth here. All right, problem area number 2, right behind the bolt on the back side. Get my pointer. Right here. Carbon builds up right in that area, and again, it won't seat correctly in your bolt carrier if carbon builds up too much. If you do not take your bolt out and clean it, you're gonna have problems. We have malfunctions several times in the past on the range whenever we have dirty bolts back here. Now, I caution you on this. You can clean this. I like the fine steel ball. Can't find any here, but this will work. You just wrap it around the back and turn. Now your goal is not to grind away any metal. It is to remove carbon. So nice and easy with the pressure. Just twisting. You can see already right here, it's almost down to the metal. If you're making silver, you're going too hard. This is a very gentle, just go around scratching off. Now what I also do, it might be easier, is almost like whittling, is you can get a pocket knife and slowly just grind it upwards, and it drags it right off. But I'm not applying too much pressure, just keeping it focused. Rotating the bolt, not just back and forth, but I'm moving it forward. You can see how much carbon has been removed. I mean, this is just night and day difference already. I don't see any except for right here on the lip. Oh. Except right here on the lip, on the very edge. You can still see it right there. So we want to get that off. Okay. Now you don't want to grind the whole bolt. It's just back there. You're just removing the carbon, and that looks really good. So I brushed all that and get my trusty rag here. Take it all off, make sure it's not just Q-tip, go in all these holes where the cleaner will get grouped up and not be wiped out very good. All along this edge, as much as I could fit inside this. You don't want to break it off in there. Here in a second, I'll show you what you can do to make sure everything's clear. And then you looking for light coming from here. You just make sure no obstruction. You can see all the way from here to this tiny little hole in the front. So you're making sure you just see it all. It's clear of obstruction. Your firing pin will go through there and clean that up. But now these little swabs are nifty. Very handy. These are very narrow ones. Go right up there. You'll have corrosion and all kinds of stuff built up. Am I going to be able to eat off this? Probably not. So again, I like to reassemble things as I clean them. So I get my extractor, that little thing. This, you can already see it. This is the back side that faces your bolt. You can see it build up right in there. I just don't like build up. Not good at it. Again, be cautious of that spring. You're not going to knock it off. It will come off just by lifting it up. I'm not scrubbing hard on the spring. I'm just hitting that dirty area, and then I'm going to touch lightly around the spring. There's no need to really remove it, but if you do, I mean, it just comes right off. Put it right back on. Wipe it down, clean it up. Oh, so much better. Before and after pictures. Look at that. That's clean right there, baby. Like I said, this rifle's several years old, so if it were not, cleaned well in the past. So you set this in like this, kind of like a groove, quite simple. You got these holes right here, and you got the holes right there. That's all you're doing is lining that up to where it fits along here. So there it is, boop. And you wipe off your little pin. Don't lose it. Take your little pin, put it in the hole, applying pressure on the back side, usually where the spring is. Goes right in. Make sure it's flush. Your extractor's back. Install. I'm gonna put the bolt right there. I'm gonna have to wipe it off again because my gloves are dirty. And if you don't wear gloves cleaning guns, you probably should. It's really nice. All right, bolt carrier. There's a lot of little areas. I like to try this out when I clean it. brush all over this thing. Maybe I'll use some of this too. Didn't dry it out as much. Let's loosen up this garbage. Definitely don't make these rifles easy to clean 100%. Make sure to get under this gas tube and are on it. Side here, side here. The brush should fit if you do the right kind. Now, it narrows, the space narrows up in here, so you can't do that there. But you can do it on this side. Hope this is entertaining to you guys, or no, educational. In every police officer's training, they say if you learn one thing, it's worth your time. Crevice. Try to stick it in there. Gas tube again. You gotta be real careful with this. If you see anything missing from this cotton swab, you may have a problem. So please do this with caution. It's actually not that dirty up that gas tube at all, hardly. Just on the edge. So I'm not gonna put it in there. I'm just gonna rotate. Not bad. Not bad, not bad. Said my late father-in-law. God bless him. Underneath it, what I'm cleaning now is right underneath there. You can see how dirty it is. This stuff gets everywhere. If you have a suppressor, they're great to have, but get ready to clean your gun for 2 hours. All right, one more hit of this. Wipe down. Inspection. Man, that's clean. That's clean. So one area, another problem area, way down in here, just as it narrows. I've never noticed it really on this side because this side narrows more. Down in there. Might want to get one of these and inspect for carbon. You should feel it right there. You hear it? Let me see if I can. This difference. Clean, dirty. Sounds like you're grinding something off your teeth like a dentist. Hey, it's the tool. You just look down in there, try to get those bits. You don't want to scratch it again. You're not there to scratch. Carbon will flake off if you just kind of rub across it. See if we loosen some up. Here's a little bit. Yeah, just a little bit. I got it. Because it wasn't coming out of here. All right. Looking good. Looking good. All right, bolt carrier, put aside. Gonna clear our cam pin, super easy. This is almost a spray and wipe down, inspect for carbon. Usually I hadn't found any carbon in this. Moves pretty quick inside. Cam pin back in our parts. Firing pin. Quick wipe down, doesn't take much with this. This towel already has cleaner and stuff on it. I should wear my glove. So, problem area on the firing pin, right here. There's carbon buildup right there, so you can see it. It's where you take, I have to use wool, steel wool. Usually I use a little knife. Knife is so much easier. But I'm just going along here, the base. Not grinding on the pin or anything, not grinding at all. Just working my way around. One little strand of steel wool, just as something to scratch it away. The carbon, let me specify, you're scratching the carbon away, not the back of your firing pin. See, all clean. Put that in our parts dish. Next is the firing pin retaining pin. These are easy to damage. Just requires a wipe off. There will be carbon on this if you need to rub it down, but most of the time just the wipe off will do. It's a very important job, retaining. All right, so we've cleaned our lower, our upper, as far as through the chamber, the bore, out the front. We cleaned our bolt carrier group and bolt carrier and bolt. Now it's time for reassembly. Now, this is where it gets a little controversial as far as use of lubricants, over lubricating, under lubricating. I tell you, from 11 years on SWAT, now I had a full automatic then, these things are thirsty. They ride around our patrol vehicles in the hot, cold, and you name it. It will dry, the humidity, you name it. We like to protect them by keeping them really oiled up. So if you don't oil yours as much, that's fine. To me, it's the sound whenever you reassemble. If it's whoosh, 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 you're good. If it's you need oil. But you will have malfunctions for under oiling these things. So first things first, major problem area. I'm going to show this to both cameras, maybe you'll pick it up. So these rings have a little space in them. So both cameras, make sure you pick it up. See this little gap right here? That's a gap. So what you want to reduce the amount of issues you're gonna have when on the range or when you need it, you turn each ring, there's 3 of them. You turn each one to where they're nowhere near each other on the gap. So just get it, turn, see what I'm doing. You got a gap right here. And the other gaps are over here. Gap here, and you just grab it and you turn. Sometimes they stick with each other. Convince them. See how I'm making gap, gap, gap. But don't put them that close. I like to put them as far apart away, especially the first 2. You know, where they can't line up. Not the first 2, but the one side by side. So that one's not, you got no gap on the next 2. This one's way over here. Great. This one, move it around a little bit more. Get it further away from its partner there, because they will move a little bit inside. Right there. So they're about evenly spaced. One here on the middle ring, lower ring, and upper ring. If they're lined up, you're gonna have malfunction eventually. No one ever touches base on that, but I'm telling you right now, do that. All right. Again, with your choice of lubricants, I cover my bolt with a generous amount because the solvents that I put on there dry it out quite a bit. Make sure every little bit is lubricated. Okay, then I get my bolt carrier, get my bolt. Now, it's important, there's 2 sides to this. Love this little tool. There's 2 sides to this. And yes, you're like, oh my god, it's covered in oil. It's gonna lubricate my bolt carrier too when I put it in there. If you look here, there's little divots taken out. Right here on both sides, and this side, it does not have that. That's the side you want facing up. Show you little ridges right here and here. This is the side you want, okay? This is bone dry in there, so it's gonna rub some oil on it. Push it all the way in. Line up your cam pin where it goes in. Make sure that this ridge side is that with the dips is face down. Cam pin, just rubbing some excess oil with my fingers on it. Long ways, go goes in. And when you're assembling anything, do not force it. Just gotta line up. Goes right in. Then you turn it, quarter turn. Like so. So now it's long ways. Go ahead and pull it forward, kind of lock it in place. Next item, and I will put just a touch of lube on it. Just a little bit. Firing pin. I like to put it in right here because it's the easiest. You go down, just drops down and push, make sure it's all the way seated. Then I'm going to get my firing pin retaining pin. Important when you're putting it back in, right here. When you're pushing it through, if there's any resistance, you're hitting the wall of the inside. You don't want to force it. If you bend your pin, and we've had some malfunction because they bent the pin behind the firing pin and it wouldn't fire. So sometimes it takes a little manipulation, gentle and no forcing. And right there, you find its sweet spot, it'll go right in, all the way in, flush. You can see it coming out this side, you're good. Now the test on this is simple. Tap it down, should go down and fling it out. If you get that, you've assembled it correctly. Now, after that test, you want to leave it extended out like this because that helps with reassembly because you can't get it together without it. So, now, clean our charging handle. Doesn't take a whole lot with this. Good wipe down. And run this. There's a gas tube inlet right here. I like to clean it out real good. These charging handles they don't get little. It's a lube and cleaner all in one. Now you put this in here, like so, pushing it up to the top. You're gonna push it up and not there. These little ridges here, there's a gap a little bit down. When you hit that, bam, you got it. I'm gonna leave that sitting right there. I'm gonna put some lube on the exterior here. There's these two holes. I like to drop some oil in there and then cover this nicely. Like I said, we keep our guns very lubed. I've been doing this 20 years, never had any issues. Get this, your gas tube goes in that hole in that charging handle for the gas tube. Now you're setting in it, should be about flush here. You just let it right in and then push. It's simple. Put in your pin here. Now exterior. Get this big old swab, put it in the end of the barrel here, kind of block it from running back down my barrel. Then I get this small one. That's what we're doing. And then we're just gonna go in between here, that cleaner. See, it's got that kind of a green, that I call it corrosion, oxidation, corrosion, tomatoes. Not bad, not bad. And get in here, twist this in the end of the barrel. It's not twisting. There we go. Oops, I broke it. Just don't realize how strong you are. Oh, that was trash. All right. Now, very important part. When you go shoving things anywhere near the end of your barrel, you want to make sure your barrel is clear before you say, barrel's good, gun's clean. It does make it look nice, and it does clean the exterior to wipe it down with the rag. Now that's still sitting in a patrol car, gets exposed to all kinds of dust and all. Do not, repeat, do not touch your lenses or your glass on your optic with these oily rags. It won't go well. Now, cleaning isn't about making your rifle look good. It's about catching the problems before they happen, whether it be on the range or when you need that gun to work. If this helped, stick around. On this channel, it's about understanding your equipment, not just owning it. Stay sharp, stay safe, stay prepared for the unexpected, and as always, thank you for hanging out with me in the hideout. Till next time, God bless.